What's up, everybody? Today is 3 months on testosterone, so 3-month video in the making right now. It is 10:30 p.m., which means that yet again I waited until the last minute to make this video for two reasons. First one being there's not that much physiological to report. Second part being the part that I do want to report on the 3-month update is a little heavy, a little emotionally taxing, and maybe even something that I was avoiding sitting down to acknowledge and talk about. So I'll just go ahead and kick it off. Physiologically, just really not a lot. So in the first month and second month, I was trying to go top down. Acne is still alive and well. Still in the face, in the this area, really kind of everywhere. You can't maybe see it in the video, but it's there. The chest area, upper chest area, and also the shoulders and upper back area. I made a quick YouTube video last week talking about how that acne is to be expected, so it's not like I can't do anything about it, and regardless of the multiple things that I try to do to keep it under control, it's been tough because the testosterone shots that I take are suspended in oil, so it comes with the territory. It's fine. I try to be positive about it. It does get difficult. It does make me hyper self-conscious, but it is what it is. Moving down, there just really isn't that much. No hair growth, which I am A-okay with. Did not get my period on month 3. Actually, kind of got my period on month 2, but no period on month 3. So that is worth reporting, I suppose. Voice changes, yes. Not extreme, however. To give you an example, if I was to call you on the phone, I would be read as female. If I was to present to a location that I've never been before, looking like this, and then spoken, then maybe there would be some question, and you cannot identify as quickly my voice or the gender of my voice, I suppose. And physiologically, that about covers it for month 3. There has not been that much else. I do want to talk about the biggest changes that I've noticed from month 3, even though they're not physiological. I feel they are worth mentioning. So 3 months is 90 days on testosterone, a little bit more. And what that means is that there has been enough time that a growing number of people know about the transition, and I don't want to say the honeymoon period is over, but that's kind of the best wording that I can put to it. To put it another way, it would be like starting a marathon too quickly. Like you just sprint at the very beginning of the marathon, and you shouldn't have done that. Not that I necessarily feel like I did do that, but you come to a certain point that you're just like over it. And I mean that, not to say that I'm going to be off testosterone or like somehow not identify as trans. Like I literally can't. Like this is my truth. It took me this long to figure out. I do stick by it. I am proud of it. I will, take all the baggage that comes along with it, but it sucks. It sucks so bad. It really does. Like, maybe there was some enthusiasm in the first month, and even in the second month, you're like hyper excited that you're finally able to acquire testosterone. And I'm still beyond grateful to have access to hormone therapy. That is not something that I take for granted at all. I was able to acquire it on my own, didn't have to ask people for money, didn't have to put myself at risk, didn't have to engage in risky behavior in order to afford hormone therapy. And that is a blessing. I do not for a single moment take that for granted. Yet it still sucks. Like I don't know how to put that another way. I'm in no way ashamed of being trans, but at the same time, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. We live in a transphobic world, and you know, with every day that passes, I just realize that more and more and more. And you know, the more you realize it, it's kind of like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And being in the shoes of somebody who identifies as trans, like you can't turn away from it, you can't turn it off, which is kind of fun. It's not funny at all, but it's something difficult to digest for me because I have lived in marginalized shoes. I've lived as somebody who was undocumented. I lived as, you know, for majority of my life, identified as female. I was a minority. I was gay. You know, like all these other things that you're living this marginalized experience. So for a very long time, I felt like I was empathetic and aware and sensitive to social justice issues, but wow, like it has been eye-opening beyond belief, and I have taken many privileges for granted. The erasure as a trans person is just really like beyond belief, and adding like another layer to that, like non-binary trans, it's like a whole you're basically an alien is how most people see you, because people can identify like F to M or M to F, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of get it, I've heard about that. You think of, you know, Laverne Cox, or you think of the Kardashian person that is not escaping me because they're a little problematic, but that's not what we're talking about today. Anyway, there is a reference point for somebody that has done a binary transition but not a non-binary transition. So there is so much emotional labor and so much explaining and so much justification that it's just really like, it's cumbersome, it's overwhelming, it's exhausting. There's no like recovery time from one conversation of where you're trying to have to validate and justify yourself to the next conversation where you're trying to do the exact same thing. And it's really difficult to navigate because people don't want to do their own work, and that kind of sucks. And I kind of hate making this video right now because it sounds like I'm just being like hyper pessimistic about things, and I don't want to be. There's a lot of what's the word? Authenticity in this experience, like really, like as heavy as everything has been, and it's like brought to surface a lot of mental health issues that I knew were there, but that just feel super heavy right now. But nevertheless, like I've never been a better or more true version of myself than I have been in the last 3 months. And it is difficult to hold room for both of those things to exist simultaneously, but there they are. So yeah, that's been month 3 in a nutshell. I would say, I apologize that was just a blurb of words with not a very clear direction. I will say that 3 months is enough time for the people in your immediate and whatever circle is after your immediate group to know, find out, recognize that you are trans, that you're transitioning. And it's been curious to see how that comes to fruition. I am so thankful and so fortunate to, or for the people that have come across this, either my social media, this video, that somehow have come across the piece of information that lets them know that I am non-binary trans, and have asked, that have used my name correctly, that have used my pronouns, that have asked for my pronouns. Like, I appreciate you so much. Like, there are not enough words to say how much I appreciate the people that have done that, because coming out is so fucking tiring. I'm not even sure if I can say that word on YouTube, but there it is. So thank you for just, creating an avenue of communication. Thank you for respecting pronouns. Back to the original point of that, 3 months is more than enough time for the people in that circle to find out about that information. So what happens at that 3-month period is that when you don't recognize that information, and when you actively choose to disregard that information, then it really hurts, and then it really stings, and then it's like really infuriating, because you've had the time. It's been out there, it's been publicized in different ways. If you had questions, you had time to ask. Even if you didn't have questions and there wasn't a conversation to be had about it, there was ample time for particular people to be informed, and ideally to respect that information and just acknowledge it. So there does come a point where it's almost inexcusable when that information is dismissed. So if dead naming occurs, or if misgendering occurs from somebody that's been presented the information multiple times, after that 3-month period, now it's murky waters. It feels like a direct disregard. It is more than a microaggression, and that's something that has happened. In the first month, you're like, oh, okay, well, not everybody knows. It's still something that just a handful group of people know. Month 2, you can kind of hold the same argument. Month 3, you just can't hold the same argument anymore. And experiencing more and more of that, which unfortunately I know will be a thing, that becomes a burden that it gets really, really heavy. And there's not a lot from these shoes that you can do about it ahead of time. So yeah, that's just something that comes with the experience of being trans and doing this in the middle of a chapter of my life, literally in the middle of my PhD program. It's not ideal, trust me. It's not how I would have planned it, but here we are. So yeah, to end on a positive note, thank you for everybody that has reached out, that has asked questions, that has been validating. I appreciate you guys very, very much. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap it here for month 3. I will do my best to do another video too between now and month 4. Thanks for watching. Bye.